A button in the far right corner opens up automation, lower right corner, which you can also open and close with the letter A when a track is selected. And you generally want that turned off. That green light is on, now it's off. You probably, as I said, you probably want that off until you are more expert and would use that later in the mixing process. When automation is on, any volume or panning changes that you make while playing in the track will be embedded into the track and will make the same changes when you play the track back afterward. Annoyingly, most MIDI files you drag into the timeline will have automation on all the tracks, and then I have to go through each one and turn it off like this. See, that one's probably not on because that was an MP3 track, but this one was on and I already turned it off, and that was on. Okay, now they're all off. I think when you create your own track, I believe, like here I'm creating a software instrument track. It's down in the bottom. It is off by default, which is the way it should be, but when you import a track, it's on, so you have to turn that off, or I like to turn it off. Getting rid of that track. Go away. There. The LCD area on the bottom of the screen in the center, I'm just clicking on that a couple times so you can see where I am. In that area, you can choose time with the clock icon, like this, or measures with a musical note icon. And you should choose measures so that the timeline shows measures. If you look up here at the top of the screen in the timeline, when I have time chosen, the timeline shows minutes and seconds. You could see up there. And when I have measures chosen, it'll show bars or measures, which is what you usually would want. So choose measures so the timeline shows measures, not minutes. Then choose project. Remember, this is GarageBand 11. I don't know if project is on 9, but it's definitely not on 8. To set your tempo. On old GarageBand versions, they have the tempo always visible at the right of the LCD. So now I've checked, selected project, and my tempo is right here, and I can set it with this slider. Of course, setting a tempo for an MP3 doesn't really set the tempo unless you do this. If you set the tempo before playing an MP3 file, then you can, with GarageBand 11, not earlier versions, GarageBand 11, but then you can play. See, I'll mute the other track so you just hear this MP3. You can play the track, and if you've checked follow tempo and pitch, you can actually change. See, analyzing audio for flex time editing. You can actually change the tempo for playback, but since I've started that with the tempo set at 100, it can function as a percentage. If I have it set at 100 before I make any changes. So now, if I play the track back, that's normal. And then if I go, say, to 75, it should be, and I've tested this, it works. It should be like 75%, like this. Or if I go to 150, it's 150%. And that's pretty cool. Slider's hard to work. I was having trouble getting it to 150. I'll put it back to 100. So that's a cool thing you can do with the tempo. Only in GarageBand 11 though. See, I'm having trouble getting it to there, 100. No? Heck with it. I'll just leave it around 100. It doesn't matter. I'm stubborn. There. No, it still didn't work. Forget it. The most important key commands in GarageBand are spacebar, to start and stop. Clicked it once to start, clicked it again to stop. Command I to open up track info, which you can also open by double-clicking the header to a track, which is this left part of a track. I'm clicking on the pop kit one. See how it's opening the info window? Double click it, and it opens the info window. And I'll close the editor window. That was Command E. You can open the editor window by Command E, or you double click on a region, like here in this MP3. I'll double click on the audio region, and notice it opens up the editor. Double click it again, closes it. Same with the header. If you double click on the header, it opens the track info. Double click it again, and it closes the track info. Command U will turn on the metronome, which with this MP3 track is kind of useless because this program doesn't have tap tempo. Some programs have tap tempo, so you could play this audio file, you could tap on the keyboard, and it would record the tempo at which you're tapping, and then you could use that as a tempo and build other parts around it. But this doesn't have that, so metronome's kind of useless with a MP3 file. But if I, like this, if I turn on the metronome, it's not going to be synchronized to the music. It's going to be relative to the music, but it won't be showing the actual beat of the music. But in a MIDI file, metronome is very useful. Or if you record your own tracks to a beat like the metronome or a MIDI track, then the tempo is very useful, as long as you're playing according to the tempo. I don't know what that track was originally, but it wasn't 150. It was probably around here. Okay, Shift Command U gives you a 1-bar count in. If you're recording a track, you get a 1-bar count in. So like here's a MIDI track, and I'll set this count in. It's in the control menu, as is metronome, or you can type Command Shift U. You probably saw that control flash. See, it's turning on, off and on, but count in is off, and I type Command Shift U, and count in is on now. So now if I was to record, I clicked in the timeline to set the cursor at the beginning. And by the way, you can move left and right on the timeline with the left and right arrow keys. I'll press the R key to start recording. And notice I had a 1-bar count off. Watch that again. Command Z to undo, return to go back to the beginning. And now you see the cursor, I'll move it. The cursor here is at the beginning, which you could also type return for. For instance, here I'm somewhere further up on the timeline. Oops. And I'll press return on the computer keyboard, and it goes back to the beginning. Type the letter R, start recording, but notice it has count in, 1-bar count in, like this, 2, 3, 4, go.